Exercise 13-27, Treasury stock transactions. So stock transactions for Barker Inc. follow. Open that up. So we're going to have to journalize these. So journalize the transactions, record debits first, then credits, select the explanation on the last line of the journal entry table. So it looks like on March 4th, we issued some stock. On May 22nd, we purchased some Treasury stock. On the 22nd of September, sold 500 shares of Treasury stock. October 14th, sold 900 shares of Treasury stock. So we can go ahead and close out of this for now. And so on that March 4th, we issued the 22,000 shares of $1 par value common stock at $18 per share. So first off, we know we're going to be getting some cash. So that's that 22,000 shares at $18 per share. So let's go ahead and get our calculator open. And that's going to be 22,000 multiplied by $18 per share. That equals 396,000. So let's go ahead and debit cash for that amount there. And we also know that we have issued some common stock, so it has to be recorded at par value. And notice the par value here is $1. So $1 par value times the 22,000 gives us 22,000 right here as a credit. And that is going to be to common stock. $1 par value right there. And why am I crediting it? It's because we have issued more equity, and equity increases on the right side. Now notice this transaction also now does not balance yet, so we have to get the balancing amount. And then that is going to be under paid in capital in excess of par common, since we are dealing here with common stock. So if we do the math here real quick, that is $374,000. And lastly, we're going to need an explanation. So that's issued common stock for cash. So let's go ahead and check our answer. Good job. Okay, and then we're going to move on to May 22nd. We purchased 1,400 shares of Treasury stock common at $11 per share. So let's go ahead and start with cash. Cash is easier for most students to understand. So which way is cash going? Is it going to go up or is it going to go down? Well, we're buying Treasury stock, so cash is going to go down. So, and debits have to be listed first here, so we're going to go ahead and skip that first line so we can credit and lower cash here. So that's going to be by the 1,400 shares at $11 per share. And that amount is 15,400. And then what are we buying again? We are buying a Treasury stock common. So let's go ahead and balance the transaction here. So debits equal credits. So that's the 15,400 there. And then we're going to need an explanation. So this one, we purchased Treasury stock. So we can go ahead and input that there as the explanation and check our answer. Well done. Okay. Now on September 22nd, we sold 500 shares of Treasury stock common at $24 per share. So since we are selling these shares, that's going to be cash into us. So we're going to be getting cash, and then that's that 500 times $24 per share, which is $12,000. And then remember when we bought the Treasury stock, we increased our Treasury stock account since it is a contra equity account with a debit. So when we get rid of some Treasury stock, we have to lower that account, and you lower a contra equity on the credit side. So Treasury stock is going to be going down. But here's also the trick. Treasury stock has to always be tracked at its cost. So when we lower the cost, when we lower the Treasury stock account, we have to use the original $11 a share price that we had up here at the top. So that's going to make this number here, the $11 at 500. So that's going to be 5,500. And again, that $11 came from here, since it is at $11 per share and at 500 shares right there. So that's how we got that 5,500. But then also notice this transaction still doesn't balance, so we need an account called paid in capital from Treasury stock transactions. And then we can credit the amount there to balance the transactions for 6,500. And then we have to input our explanation. We have sold treasury stock above cost. Let's go ahead and check our answer. Excellent. And then just a quick explanation here for that last portion for this here, since we sold it above cost, you can see that came from the fact that we sold it for $24 per share. However, we bought it at $11 per share. So that means we sold it for more and above cost. So then next in our transactions here, we have October 14th sold 900 shares of Treasury stock common at $9 per share. So here we know our cash is going to be going up since we sold Treasury stock in exchange for cash. And that amount is going to be the 900 shares times $9 per share. And that means our cash is going up by 8,100. Now, which way does this Treasury stock account go? Well, remember up here at the top when we made the purchase for the Treasury stock, that was a debit on the left right here. So that's how we increased it. But then when we're selling it, we're going to be crediting it in order to make the Treasury stock go away. So what we're going to do here is we've skipped a line and input Treasury stock common. And we also have to use the original price, which again up here was the $11 per share. Let's scroll back down here, and that's 900 shares at $11 per. So that's 9,900. So now notice this transaction does not balance, and we have 9,900 on this side here as a credit and 8,100 as a debit. So which side needs an item in order to balance this? It's going to be on the left with a debit for the amount of 1,800, and that's going to be to the paid in capital from Treasury stock transactions. And the comment is going to be sold Treasury stock below cost, because remember we were purchasing it for the $11 up here, and now we are selling it for $9. And so one thing we have to take a look at here first and just double check is that the paid in capital from Treasury stock transactions account does not have a negative balance. In other words, that it does not have a debit balance. Remember, it's because it is paid in capital, it should have a balance on the right side because it is an equity account. So let's double check up here. So this paid in capital from Treasury stock transactions has a credit for 6,500, and then here is going to have a debit for 1,800. So it would still then have a balance on the right hand side, the credit side there. So we are okay and don't have to worry about anything. And let's check our answer then. Good job.